Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We are super excited again with some amazing individuals that get to share an amazing story. Ashton and Chris, they're just, two individuals, brothers that are veteran-owned, family-built, and there's some adventure capitalists right here. Two of them that, had an amazing story. We originally met I think this year, and we were in Dallas. It was COVID time. We're trying to buy a deal, and just hearing their story, I go, these two gentlemen are people I have to stay close to. So, anyways, Ashton, Chris, how's it going?
Awesome, man. Thank you for the intro. That's really flattering. Love to be here.
Yeah,
good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to hear your story because these two, if you don't know them, they have millions and millions of dollars that are under management today, and they moved really quick in everything that I know. And when I say move quick, I mean take action. So they had some conversations. We had some conversations together. Introduced them, met them, talked to them, and a lot of people say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do that. And then in the end run, I see less of those people take action. Chris and Ashton are definitely not like that. So over there at Valkyrie, they're crushing it. And I'm excited for them and seeing their trajectory. So for those of you that are taking notes, it's a good time. You're going to have a good couple nuggets here. So let me pause and turn it over to you guys. Why don't you give us a proper introduction, who you are, what you do, your company, and take a couple minutes each of you. Let's hear more about you guys.
So my name's Ashton, Ashton Levarek. I'm the older brother. And Chris likes to point out that I always point that out. I don't mean to, but it just comes out. But,
that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, 4 years older, but so we both joined the military, got into real estate near the end of my military career, and we started investing in smaller multifamily, and we did it like a lot of other people did it, or the reasons we did it were for a lot of the same reasons everybody does it, right? We like the tax benefits, we like the passive income, we don't want to go get another job, we didn't want to keep answering to the man or whatever I say in quotes, but whatever that may be, and we wanted to choose our own adventure, and which is, in the military, that's a huge part of the reason, people join the military is for the adventure. And now being able to having families, we want to do that with them instead of always out there doing it on our own. And being away from the family. So this allows us to, create that income and work from home and be with the family. We did small multifamily, and I'll let Chris, finish the story from there, give his intro, and then finish how we got into the large multifamily.
Yeah. Thanks. So I am the younger brother. My name's Chris Levarek. We both were in the military. I think when we exited, I did 4 years. He did about 21 years, so a little different there. But after my term, I went back to school, got an IT degree, went into the IT industry, which I still am. So I am a working professional investing in real estate, and that's kind of who we align with as well. Don't think that we're just aligning with people who are quitting the rat race. That's kind of like the end. The passive income, being able to choose your life. But I'm definitely still in IT. I started investing in real estate 2018 with my brother. We built a business around it. Started very small duplexes, Just like everybody else, we partnered on every deal we did because we did know that was a key factor. So with private lenders, private money, we partnered with property managers, different agents and attorneys. We were building teams. We knew it was something we wanted to grow into, and it scaled because of that pretty quickly. We did, I want to say in the first year we did around 42 doors. And that was pretty quick for, when we started, we didn't have money necessarily. We thought we didn't have money, but once you start partnering and growing your team, you see the limits are really not there. They're only in your mind. But as we did that, we developed partnerships. We found new people, we found new partners, bigger partners, smarter partners. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to partner with people bigger and smarter than us. And eventually we got into apartments. We did our first syndication, a 16 unit. So really small one, but we learned a lot and it was really great. Still going right now. And then we got into bigger. We went to bigger 84 unit and then 120 unit in November here of last year, 2020. And now we are working on a bigger deal right now as we speak. So it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, get it on. I love it. I love it. So thank you very much for that high level. And how many millions of dollars are you all in today? One form or fashion, one way or the other, you're invested in it. How many total doors or how many properties? And just give a high level.
So 260 doors, I think. And then we're closing or expected to close this first quarter another 384.
Yeah, more than double right there. More than double that one. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Well, so at a high level, right, I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that was achievable from 2018 to today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask Chris and Ashton a couple of, I'm going to take them further back from the doors, but this is what everyone, I think, a lot of people that want to do what we're doing, putting deals together, partnering with others, raising capital, buying something bigger than we thought we would have been able to buy on our own in the first place. And as we're doing that, they're like, man, how did you do that? And I think the people that really unpack some of these stories, they benefit because they're going to find out. I have a feeling that Chris and Ashton, although we thank them for their service, that they've worked so many years for in the U.S. for us and for our freedoms, that's where they're superheroes at. On the single family to multifamily conversion, I think you guys are just everyday average regular guys like myself, right?
Yeah.
No multi crazy millionaires, no billionaires, family members or anything like that, right? Okay, that's cool. So let's start in the background, right? Tell us about how did you guys grow up? It's where did y'all grow up? Did you go to the same schools? Did y'all follow each other? And through college? When let's start there. Let me pause here.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So we're 4 years apart, but I think sometimes looking back, I think we have a very similar life, but then Chris starts talking and, it's very different. Perspective is everything, right?
Yeah.
So we moved around a lot when we were kids because our father was an entrepreneur, but our mother was a flight attendant. And she, because of base closures and whatnot, she ended up getting rebased different places. So, and like, why am I talking about that? I think that plays a lot into our adaptability and into our networking ability and comfort in uncomfortable areas. Because we're like, for a large part of my school life, I was always the new kid in school. And so, yeah, just learning to adapt and grow and excel in new environments, I think has, pushed us. I mean, we started, Chris was born in California. I was born in Australia. We moved from California to New York to Florida to Utah and then down to Arizona. And so we were all over the place. But our father was always hustling. He had a mail order business. He had, he had all sorts of businesses and
catering business
and
SEO business.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But the cool thing is, and, you look it back and you're just like, man, my dad was always working. He was in the basement. He had his own office, and he's down there. He'd have us like licking stamps and folding envelopes so we could make these massive mailings. Because back then, it wasn't email, it was all mailings.
Yeah. So that was the internet.
Yeah, we take trays of envelopes to do these direct mailings with him, so just
Fun
seeing
weekends.
him, just seeing him do that. I think inspired a lot of that. You can do anything, or you can go become anything if you want. And he was, he was hustling. So that was a large part of our childhood. I don't know, Chris, if you have anything to add to that. I think I would say one thing though, that one of the things that, brought us together, we're brothers, but we're pretty close over the years because we were always our best friends because we were always moving, so I think that played into our partnership today. But
yeah, we definitely got the travel bug too from the parents. We could fly free for a long time of our life.
Dang.
Like
Yeah,
you
your
said,
mom.
yeah, she flew for Pan Am and then she flew for Delta, so she had 32 years in the industry, and we got great flight benefits. So I went and lived in France for 2 years after my first year of college.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was awesome. And Ashton, the whole time he was in the military, he exited high school, went straight in. I went to Europe, and tried college there and had a great time. So I speak French fluently. And then
Wow.
when I came back, I wanted to be like my brother. So I joined the military and became a firefighter. And so totally different than what I ended up doing, which was IT. I've done IT for the last 11 years. And Ashton's been in the military for 21 years doing some special ops stuff, pretty cool stuff. And so we came together afterwards, but we're very similar journey, I guess, in the intro. And then I kind of followed in his footsteps to get in the military. We did find out eventually I was more kind of like detail oriented, analyst kind of. Maybe it's because I chose IT, I'm not sure. I did enjoy the firefighter lifestyle, but I did feel I was much better suited for IT. And Ashton, he loves that physical, go get them, crush
Yeah.
doors. And so
That's
it's funny
awesome.
though, when we came together, we figured out a nice little partnership, a little mesh of those two attitudes, those two styles of work ethic. So
Yeah, I'm super glad I just took a second to ask that because there's so many things that shape you all. Your travel, your mom being able to fly wherever, so you all flew. Your dad, entrepreneur, and many multiple things. Like my dad was always a sales guy, a salesman, and he did own a couple business and did own a single single rental. But even though we're doing way different things than that they were doing, it's like we took those small pieces of mom and dad and that kind of shape us moving forward, right? I love the travel part, and then you speak French. Chris, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And man, Ashton, thank you very much. Do you service since after high school, and are you finally when's a retirement, or when's that happen in the military side?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I really enjoy it. I enjoy jumping out of planes and climbing mountains. Who don't? I don't know. For me, that was something I've always wanted to do.
Yep.
And having the honor and the privilege to be able to do that, for our country. Not to get sappy here, but I really enjoyed my career. So I did 21 years active duty, and Chris left out. I did have a break in service. I was a rescue swimmer for the Coast Guard before the war started. When the war started, I took about a year and a half off while I was trying to get into the Air Force, to go the Air Force Special Warfare. But yeah, I traveled around a bunch for that. But then I came into the Air Force and finished out 21 years total. And then I went part-time. So I did that in May. I shifted over to the Air National Guard, and I'm still a pararescue jumper for the Air National Guard. Although the draw on my time for that now is changing. So, and then with family, I think I may be officially retiring here in the next few months. So we'll see.
Let's see how it goes, huh?
Yeah,
well, it's good. You've created a little financial cushion, or at least a landing pad to continue build on. But you started building something, and you did it a few years ago, so that's good, man. Get a little running start, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So, okay, so thank you very much. This helps. I think me, our listeners. I'm always curious on how I got started. So that's what shaped you. At what point did you really say, hey, we should go do this together? I want to go grind it out. Was it a certain paradigm shift? Was it a mindset? Was it something you learned? Was it what was it that said, we're going to go do this, and we're going to hit it full bore, and we're going to hit it hard?
Yeah, so I think we both had different reasons for getting into real estate, but when we came together, when we started talking about it, it clicked. So I can just tell you that. So when I was in Afghanistan in 2016 or 17, something like that. It must have been 16. And we were on, I don't know, there was a big thing going on at the time, and there was two teachers that got taken hostage. So we were there doing that, right? And we were waiting for everything to go down, waiting for the intel to drop. And I'm talking to this guy, and he's young in the army, and he's a medic, and he's talking about all this cash flow he has. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I was really into my job, into my team, into deploying and doing the best I could at that. So I never really thought about retirement much. I never really thought of cash flow because it just, I was taken care of by the military. And really, I think that's how people are raised these days. They don't think about creating that cash flow to exceed their expenses and whatever. But yeah, so he mentioned all this cash flow, and that's where I first got introduced into real estate investing. And so I wrote down everything he said, but I didn't do anything with it until 2018. And that's when Chris came to me, because at 2018, I was already like preparing for retirement, which would have been 2020, what I was officially able to retire in 2020. And I knew that was coming up. And he brought it up, and that's where it started. So, I mean, Chris can tell his story. I mean, because his is different. I mean, why he decided to get into real estate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was in IT in 2018. I think we started noticing, both of us, that having a single form of income, you hear it from other people, but we didn't have options. We could take vacation, or we could travel when we took time off from work, and then our income would stop, while we're off from work. Or, for salary, it continues, but it's not always the same. So we wanted to have options. And in 2018, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was this dip in the stock market. It was like Dow Jones lost 10% or something. And I watched my 401k dip as well. And it kind of kept hammering home, like, hey, we're taught to put so much money aside for retirement, but then it could disappear just as fast too. So how do you create multiple streams of income? How do you create options for yourself? How do you create a runway to have a choice? And that's kind of what we started thinking about in 2018. For me, I mean, in IT, I know you're familiar, Abel, but we make great salaries. They're really nice while you have them. And then, they can go away just as easily, or the job can go away, or maybe your passion for it goes away. And then what, so I started having those thoughts. I started having, okay, well, what do we do? And then you see so many people owning real estate, or you could say the elite, or the wealthy, or the people with options have real estate. And you got to ask yourself, why are they invested in real estate? And it's because it's a great asset that you can understand, and it provides another stream of income that can be very passive. There's, of course, active real estate owners who are going in there doing the work on the houses and that kind of thing, but it just builds options. And so that's how we kind of got the inkling to get into it.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Well, that's good to hear. And the difference between you all and a lot of individuals is you took massive action. You took action again and again and again. And obviously there's a lot of iteration and changing, but the point is you kept moving forward. What was the first deal, and how did you get going?
So, so Chris came to me in 2018, and he started talking about, no, late 2018. He's like, started talking about, like, and I'm one of those guys that, like, if I think it's a good idea, I'll jump in both feet, and figure out my parachute on the way down. But so I was like, well, let's get something under contract then. That sounds like a great idea. Let's invest in real estate. And so I just started making offers. We reached out to brokers, just started making offers. And luckily, a lot of them didn't get accepted because they were terrible deals. But that's how you learn, right? And Chris introduced this concept to me, but I think he got it from either Bill Allen or Tony Robbins. It's like, you have your perceived potential, what you think you can do, and then you take action according to what you think you can do, right? You take action, then you get results. That changes your beliefs, and it changes your perceived potential. And then so you keep taking, the more action you take, this is the key part, right? The more action you take, the more you realize you're capable of, and the faster you learn, and the faster you can grow. And so when people say, oh, they're not finding deals, or they don't know, they can't do that, or they're afraid to do that, or they haven't, yeah, it's really all they have to do is take action. And that's what we did. We started reading, we started making offers, we started listening to podcasts. Like that's all taking action. But what we did, I think that what was key to that is like Chris and I became each other's accountability partners, and we made a 90-day challenge. We're going to get something under contract in 90 days. So maybe that's not the smartest way to go about it. But that is, you got to push yourself, right? You got to push yourself into, when you're afraid of something, you have to have somebody backing you up, or you have to push yourself, throw something out there like Batman does, right? He shoots his grappling hook out and it pulls him into the future. Like do something that propels you into that. If that's where you want to go.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, that's awesome. That cycle, I think I remember talking with you when we were in Dallas, looking at our deal, which was I had just maybe learned about the OODA loop model. Observe, orient, decide, act. And it literally feels like a loop model. It's the same. You observe with your eyes, you see what's going on, you can orient yourself to the decision, you make the decision. This is where most people stop, is the action. But if you can take the action, then you can adjust again and then see what's going on, orient yourself, decide, and act, and just keep doing it over and over again. I think my coach was the one who said, this is what you're doing all all the years. You're adjusting, you make it, and just keep moving forward. And I think that's that constant, persistent action, or taking the next step, is what separates really highly successful people, probably not only in multifamily or commercial real estate, but just pretty much life, I think, over and over again, right?
I think so. Yeah. In the military, we call it fire for effect.
Fire for effect. Tell me more about what they say.
Well, so if you don't know where you're shooting, right? Like, and you're looking at where your bullets go, and if they're not going where they need to go, you just keep adjusting.
Fire for effect.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Just keep firing, and that's what you guys kept doing. You kept offering, making offers. And so how did you get the money for the first one, and how did you get the money for the second one? How did those first deals pan out for you all?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was not prepared. So I like being prepared for a lot of it. And that's the part of it, though, is the taking the action forces you to find the components. And so when we made the offer, we didn't have the money really. So we had to come up with $209,000 cash fairly quickly. We were buying from a wholesaler. So it was, actually, no, that one was listed, right?
Yeah, but he was a wholesaler. He was an agent.
It was a wholesaler. So it was listed, but it was it was a wholesaler. So, 209,000, 2 duplexes, side by side to each other. So it was 104,000 each. So they were in rough shape, 1940s, and a lot of repairs need to be done. I just had a chat with a guy at my work, who I knew was looking to invest into something or do something with some capital he had. And, I didn't know what I was doing necessarily, but I called an attorney who had an idea how to get private money or how to create the documents to get private money. And that's key for those who are taking action or getting started. You don't need to be an expert in it, and chances are you won't be. So why don't you align with other people who have done it or who are experts in the field? That's what we did. We got a deed of trust. We got a promissory note. Even did a joint venture. I said, let's throw them all in there. And we got all these documents together. I worked with a guy I worked with at work. We gave him the deed of trust. We gave him that collateral, secured it, and we borrowed 70%. So around like 170,000, I think, of the total 209,000. Then we brought in, the down payment ourselves. We used the HELOC for that. We had a home equity line of credit on my house. We had some Roth IRA that we had built up in our time in the military. So you can pull out all your contributions tax-free in a Roth. No penalty, in case everyone's looking at that. And we were able to, do the down payment, and then the renovations got pretty big. I think all total we started spending, 90,000 in renovations because they were pretty old. And so it, all said and done, we were looking to do a BRRRR where we were going to buy it, renovate it, rent it, refinance it, and pull our equity back out. And hopefully you get all your equity back out. At the end of the day, our total cost became around 336. to get everything out. And we were able to get a loan for that amount. They actually appraised when we were done for 480,000. So each one was 240,000 each, which means we were able to pull out 340 some thousand, or the loan was 340. So it worked, but we it was a learning experience.
That's awesome, man. What a great first deal. Hello. You're listening to the 5 Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So let me unpack a few things for those people that are listening. So I think we have a lot of passive investors that are, using this show as an opportunity to learn from others. But then there's also some active investors that I would say are trying to use this as education to get started, right? And so the first deal, 4 doors, we'll talk about size in a minute, but on those deals, like you said, 2 physical buildings with 2 doors each, $100K plus ish, and Chris and Ashton didn't have the $200,000 needed. So what they did was there was a few terms. They said JV, deed of trust, promissory note. A JV is a joint venture partner. So they brought in a partner that from a legal doc said, hey, we're partners and this is how we're going to split it up. The deed of trust is what secured the other partner's money to say, hey, if something happens, you actually have the deed to this house. You hold the deed, and a promissory note is promise to pay back. Now, all of those legal terms and the legal, way to do it, Chris and Ashton didn't know how to do that, nor do I know how to put the paperwork together. Just because I know what they are doesn't mean you would ever see me trying to put this stuff together. And the part about leveraging a team, one of the themes that I have a feeling Chris and Ashton said it over and over again, is you leveraging other people with their time, their knowledge, their experience. And some expert, a lawyer, knows how to do it. They put it together and they're guiding them through the process. You don't have to know how to do that stuff. You just need to know to talk to the person who knows how. And now they're part of your team. And yes, they cost money, and it costs a few $1,000s, I'm sure, if not more, to do all this stuff. But that's okay. That's the cost of doing business. And you put it into the deal and you write it in there, and it's part of the return, And so that's, just wanted to pause there and just kind of point that out. Just like some people will say, well, how do I raise millions of dollars under syndication? And how do I don't know what to tell the SEC. And I don't even know the first thing. Well, neither do I. I don't know how to do that. I call us SEC attorney and they help us put a syndication together. But anyways, and then the way you put it together also. So not only did you raise capital, but I heard HELOC and IRA. So a home equity line of credit, you all had a house, it had some equity, you tapped your own equity, you went to the bank, you pulled out a little bit of cash, so you had something to bring to the table. And then you used IRA money too, like some self-directed IRA funds or whatever the case was. So most people don't think that creatively. There's equity in your house if you've been paying it for some period of time. And then you probably have some retirement funds, and most people are scared or fearful or whatever the thing is, right? Whatever the motion is that keeps them from moving forward. What was going through all of your heads throughout this whole entire process? Like, did you think you were going to go that far in when you started making offers, and how did it turn out? Like, just tell us the mindset a little bit.
Well, I think when you start making offers and, because at first you don't know what a good offer is, you don't know what a good deal is. So
yeah,
you're making offers based off of your limited knowledge. And so when you get a lot of no's and then you finally get a yes, you get super excited. So there was like this we got excited, like we got one under contract. And so I went and walked the property, and I'm shooting video, and I'm like, oh my God,
You're like that's
there's
my building.
yeah, there was a toilet in the living room. There was like a deflated, what's it called? Air mattress with a, used condom on it. There was nobody living in 3 of the units. There was 3 people living in 1 of the units. And mind you, they're adults. And this was a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, apartment, if you will, or unit, because they weren't really apartments or duplexes. But yeah, so like, you're kind of like, what did we get into? And then you're like, no, we got this. We can do this. We can figure it out. And I think that's the big thing. That's the big thing that I think a lot of people get scared about. They're worried they can't figure it out. But if you can, you just have to talk to the right people. And so Chris reached out to a great property manager. He started looking for property managers. And that guy, I'm not going to say saved our butt, but he was crucial in our success, because he knew the rents that needed to be how they could be raised, what kind of amenities had to be in there, what the property had to look like. And then of course he had all the contacts for the contractors. I set up meetings with like 7 different contractors to come and walk the property to give me quotes. And they all gave us high quotes. And I'm like, this can't be right. But they were, but we ended up going with the property manager's contractor. So I think like you're saying, leverage people's experience, their expertise, right? You just have to know that you can do it, you can figure it out, and then find the right people to help you get there.
Yeah, I love it. And that deal was 4 doors, right? But it was a proof of concept almost for you all in the IT space. Chris is probably, yes, the proof of concept, the model, the minimum viable product, the MVP, that proved, that successful. We bought a deal. We put some hard work in. We were able to refinance, pull our capital out of it. And we made, if I think I heard this right, you bought it at 200, you put 90 in, and then come out of the end with 480K of value. So there's hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever the difference of those numbers are, of equity. And that was your appreciation that you forced, and you've created that on 4 doors. And so somewhere said, hey, I somewhere along the way you said, well, let's keep going. So you went from 4 to 200 and something doors, and now you got a 300 door, deal that you're working on. And that's awesome, man. So give us a couple of, fast forward a little bit to what you're doing today. There's a little difference the way you're putting them together. Yeah. So talk about, the way you're structuring deals today and how this happens.
Yeah, I'd say you take a lot of what we did in the beginning and you just make it more systematized, and you start to partner, get deeper partnerships, and just expand your team a little more. But it's very similar. It's very the same concept. When we got into real estate syndication, which, I'm sure your listeners are kind of familiar with, but syndication just means the partnering of a bunch of people, of professionals, of companies to achieve something they couldn't do by themselves. And in this case, we're buying apartment complexes. And the great thing when you get to a bigger property, yes, it can be a lot more components, but when you have a bigger team working on it, you only have to focus on your specific role, your specific component, and the project, will achieve fruition. It will achieve success because everyone's working in their own area. And the great thing with bigger properties is you get much more experience. So, if this private lender that we worked with in the first project, he had a deed, he had a collateral, but we didn't necessarily have the experience necessarily. But when you get on these bigger properties, you'll notice a lot more people are experienced in the space, and so you have a lot more, chances of success, if you will, because you have a lot better experienced people. They've cut their teeth on smaller properties, and now they're working on these big apartment complexes together, and they can have a higher success rate, if you will. Also, more doors means, if one person moves out, you've got other people paying the rent. So with duplex, that's kind of hard. You have one person move out, you feel that, even if it's not a single family.
It's 25% of your profit, right?
Yeah. Well, 50% if it's a duplex, but.
Oh, right. Yeah. Fourplex. Yeah.
Yeah. Fourplex. We felt
Bigger
that when
impact.
we had one door empty, it was big. But yeah, those, they call the economies of scale that you get with these big properties. And we've been really fortunate to be surrounded with some great partners to be able to take down some big deals. On our own, we've had to create systems. We've hired 4 virtual assistants now. So we've got a bigger team. We have 8 people working at Valkyrie. And it's necessary to make all these systems, these processes, talking to investors, updates, all these things it's a business, right? So it grew into that, but it started with those simple processes, I think, that we first did with the 4 doors.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, congratulations to you all. Look forward to, continuing and continued success. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I'm happy for you all. As you continue to move forward, what are some of the biggest, you mentioned automation, you mentioned headcount, you mentioned systematized, you mentioned partnerships. Help somebody that's listening, like, determine how to get started on that path. Maybe they're doing everything themselves today. How do I go about just, beginning that process of building, a real estate company the way you all have?
I think that's a good question. I think there's a lot of things that go into it, and it can be overwhelming at first, right? A lot of times I say, oh, just, you got to know what you want. Well, you do. And there's some great, I think some books for us that were really crucial in defining our business plan and defining where we wanted to go. And the first one I'll throw out is Traction by Gino Wickman and I think one other guy, but that's a great book just to help you lay out your business and who needs to be involved, right? And I'm talking about your business, not necessarily your partners. I'm talking about actual things to make your business move. And then another great one is the Vivid Vision, just to flesh out your dream for your life and for your business, and what is the perfect day for your business, the perfect income, like what are people saying about your business, like all the details. Because then once you have that overarching framework from Traction, and then of course the 3, 5, or 10-year goal, then you can work backwards from there, right? You can say, this is where I want to end up. So where do I need to be in 5 years to get there? And how many people do I need to be working with at that point? How much capital do I need to be making? How many units does that equate to? How many deals per year? How many deals per quarter? And you're just working your way back. And then you get to I know this is real big picture working down to small, but then you get to the small stuff. It's like, okay, what do I need to do to get one deal this quarter, right? Do I need to learn more about syndications? Do I need to learn more about partnerships? What areas am I good at and what should I be focused on? So for us, for Chris and I, we initially did everything, right? We wore all the hats. And then even into our very first syndication, we were trying to do everything. But then you realize that we like the relationship side of the business. We like the investor relations. We like building those relationships and helping people place capital in cash flowing deals. And so what that means is we didn't want to focus on, we wanted to find somebody that was good at asset management. And so by defining what we're good at, we're defining our weaknesses and who we need to partner with. And so then, we just worked our way backwards from our end goal, right? And then we found out what we're good at and then who we needed to add to the team or partner with. And that's, I think, the best way to do it. You gotta start with the end in mind, right? That's what they always say, start with the end in mind. We, in the military, you call it backwards planning. You plan from the target out, like what you're yes, we want to go get this bad guy or rescue this certain person, but how are we going to get there? What are we going to bring? You're working your way backwards so that you have all the details figured out before you launch. And then the other thing I would say is, I think the pursuit of perfection is one of the biggest roadblocks to taking action too. So it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Get out there, make some phone calls, talk to active investors, talk to passive investors. I think we say this all the time, there's 3 ways to get in syndication. One is to do it yourself and go slow and build up slow. You take all the risk, you get all the reward. The second one is get a mentor, and then you're getting their whole network, but you're paying for it. And then the last one is to reach out and partner with people, whether that's as a general partner or as a limited partner, so you can learn and earn at the same time. And you're not doing everything. So yeah, I said a lot. I'm sorry, but I think
you're good.
Yeah,
this is good. All of it's good. So many nuggets or insights of wisdom there. Traction, that book is really solid. I enjoy it, as well as your description of backwards planning, the way you say it, and Stephen Covey's and the start with the end in mind. I'll pause on that one too, because there's an illustration that he gives, and this is Stephen Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that he gives that's always stuck with me. And it is the knowing where you want to end up, the end mind. And if you develop a plan for that, it's easier to say, this is where I want to end up. Now I can develop my plan and I can take action every single day. That's where most people don't do that for their lives or marriages or business or whatever. Right. And, he's got an exercise that talks about, he says, hey, project yourself and, to the end of your life. And for, a few people are speaking at your funeral, and it's your family, somebody from your family, somebody from your friends, somebody from community organizations or whatever. So maybe somebody from your professional life, and everybody's saying things about you. What do you want them to say about you? List those things out. And now you've got this plan that says, or the words that you want them to say. Abel was X, Y, and Z. Ashton and Chris were amazing family men that cared about their children, that left me with a family legacy. They were professional, they were hardworking, all the things from, church, work, home, friends, somebody could be counted on. Now you have your end in mind, and every day you can take an action that leads you towards your end in mind. So it's just a powerful exercise, and enjoy that. So.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. And I think that's where it comes into like writing your goals every day, because you're going over like, what am I focused on today that's getting me to that end goal that I want? And I got that from Grant Cardone at one point. I think I read his book. I know you've had him on the podcast. So shout out to you, Abel, for pulling the big guns.
We were lucky to have old Grant, Uncle G, on the podcast. Which is really cool. Yeah. Well, that's good, man. You guys have just created what you wanted. And, there's a big part about, I think most people miss this too. Whenever you tell them, hey, what are your goals? Do you have them written down? Do you look at them every day? It's a part of manifesting, your dreams. And, that if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, any road will take you there. Right. They say that, and they're like, man, well, so you guys have, what are your goals now? What were they then? And what will they be now? Cause I'm sure they've changed drastically. What were some of your goals? And then what do you think you're going to be headed towards now in the future?
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, so we made a 3-year picture when we started, and we're moving there. So we're still on track. I think we wanted, what was it, 20,000 a month? We set that as a goal for passive income 3 years ago. Then, we did something like 500 doors in 3 years, and we're already knocking that out of the park. But the really cool thing, and when you do these 3-year, these 5-year pictures, is you can break it down every year and know if you're on track or if you're off track. And that is key to success, is knowing where you're at. So if you never set the goal, you'll never know if you're making it or not. And if you're not keeping track of it, you'll never know if you're making it or not. So we have these quarterly meetings. We got this from Traction, where we've broken down our year into quarters, and then we're seeing every 90 days if we're on track, if we're off track. And that could be revenue, that could be size, that could be door count, that could be overall, happiness, time off, whatever you want to do as your goal for that 90-day quarter. But it should align with that 1-year picture, that 3-year picture. So when we figured out, if we want $20,000 per year in passive income, well, then for year 2, we're going to need this amount of revenue to get that, to be on track for year 3 to even happen. Okay. And so for us, we just break down, okay, these are our expenses. For this year alone, we're going to need around 200,000 in gross revenue, just to be on track for our 3-year picture. Does that mean, we are moving in the right direction, everything's going perfect, and we're, it's coming easily? Maybe not, but at least we know that we're on that track. And second quarter, maybe we can adjust. And third quarter, we can adjust. And fourth quarter, maybe we just go play the lottery to get that 200K. So
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Numbers. What the truth part in there is, well, a lot of truths in there, but one of them was numbers watched, our numbers improved. If you don't look at your or take account of your situation, you never know if I'm on track, I'm off track. It feels good, but I don't, what's the right one? So when you look at hard data, you say, here your goal, and you break it up over 4 quarters, and the way you do it, and it's not just numbers. if you have, a goal for time with your family and friends, you're like, did I go do that trip that I wanted to go do? Did I take that time off on Fridays? Do we spend the time over the last couple of months? No. Okay. Well, that needs to get adjusted, and I need to put that in my goals. And if I don't set it and then review it and track it, then it never happens. Right. It's a
Yeah, that's
much harder
great.
to.
I like that you did it to family too, because we, and I'll mention this briefly. We started the business, and what you notice is time. As you're building a business, it takes a lot of your time. So for all those who are listening, you don't need to build a business around this necessarily. It is a big time crunch, and we started planning goals around our family too, because we noticed it was a pull against family. It was a pull against some of our personal goals. I have a huge wall calendar in my office with, it's gigantic. It's called the Big ASS calendar, from Jesse Itzler. And it is awesome because you
Is it
can
a full
chart out
year
your
or what?
full year. It's horizontal. The month is horizontal, and you have all 12 months, and you can plan out week by week what you want to do. And we wrote our goals for our family, and we make sure, we have dinner 4 times a week together. We read 3 times together, and maybe we take one trip throughout the year. And you can put that all out there. So you're not only doing your goals for your family or for your business, you're doing for your family as well. And that's, super important. If you don't have a plan for your family, laid out, it's similar to a project plan or a plan to write a book. You're going to miss things. You're going to forget. And it's family business. You got to chart it out. You got to have the goals, you got to have the plan, and you got to review them.
Yeah. And I know some people just heard that and then they go, I'm not going to do that. That's so robotic, or that's so too organized. I'm going to spend time with my family because I love them and I don't have to put them on a schedule. And, some people probably say that. And on the flip side, it's like, well, okay, let's see who wins. I wouldn't say who wins, but are you taking X amount of time, every, like you said, 4 times a
How do you
night,
know?
3 times a week, or 4 times a week and 3 times, every night. Like, well, how did yours compare to mine? Right.
Right.
Man, I mean, when you plan those things out, you're very intentional about making sure that you have good quality family time. That's
And
intentional.
what I would add to that, and when somebody says this, is like, you don't get what you work for. You get what you focus on. So what are you focused on, right? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you want a good family, a happy family, solid family relationship, that's something you need to focus on. It doesn't happen by accident, because all of a sudden you'll be like, I'm doing this for the family. I'm taking these calls for the family. I'm going to these meetings for the family. And then next thing you know, that's just your excuse to be away from the family.
Yeah.
So what are you focused on, right? And that was a huge part of our mission, I want to say, for our business, was like, we wanted our family to be involved. We hired our wives, for crying out loud. Our wives work full time for us, and it's been awesome. It is awesome. We have family meetings and we have team meetings, and they're very similar, and we're very focused. And I think that is key. And you have to know what's important, and you have to focus on what's important. But we, in our work year, like, that was our goal. Like, yes, numbers,
Yeah.
units, sure. But how much time are we? So Chris said 1 trip. I'm trying to bump that up to 2 trips as a team. So his family, my family, and as well as like a retreat for all our VAs and everybody that works with us. So, like, I think that's a huge thing. I mean, people first, right? I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There's so many good things. And as we wrap up, I need to get your contact information so everybody knows where to reach out to you if they want to connect with you. So actually, let's do that. Where can people go to connect with you if they want to, actually, who do you want to reach out to, and where should they go?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a website. I like to put everything through the website. It makes it easier. ValkyrieGroup.com, VALKERE group.com. You can reach out there, contact us. We have a lot of automations built in, so it will all get to us and come through there. We have ebooks and all sorts of stuff on there for free. But yeah, our audience is the working professional. It's the veteran. It's the person who has a family, who is looking to, build passive income, look into real estate, understand real estate, grow their wealth. A lot of that, I'm a working professional, like I said. Ashton is as well. He's still involved in the military and different roles there. So we really like to orient with those kind of people. If you're someone who's looking to get into real estate, looking to build passive income, you have a job, you have something you love, you want to check out passive investments, that's who we're looking to target. We also talk with anyone though. We are on LinkedIn. We are on BiggerPockets. Feel free to reach out. It doesn't have to necessarily be about passive investment. It could be about anything. I post all the time on BiggerPockets. I'm very active. Feel free to contact us there or LinkedIn. The best bet. But the website's always the default. So.
All right. And the other question that I had before you go, partnering and doing business with family. You've definitely crossed those boundaries, and it's a plus or minus, right? What's your take? Any advice for other families that are thinking about doing this together? I'm sure you've had some fun ups and downs already. And what's the parting advice for partnering with family members?
Know yourself and know your partners. It doesn't have to be family. Know yourself, know your partners. If you know what type of person you are, then you know what type of person you need to, work with. My brother and I, we have a very symbiotic relationship. I'm more big picture. He's more detail oriented, and that comes right out of Traction. Great reference there. But I would also look at not to sound corny, but do like a personality test. We use the DISC profile, and that way we know everybody on our team and what they're good at. And if they're in the wrong position, they're going to be they're going to be a drag on the whole team because they hate their position, they don't embrace what they're doing, or whatever. They're not good at that, So like if you put me in an underwriter role, I would just shoot myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
you're the high D.
Yeah.
Ashton and Chris, what are you, an I or an S or something?
Yeah, S.
An S.
Part I, but SC mostly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think I remember the acronyms there, but that's awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I know we're towards that time. Is there anything else? Last final thing. Is there anything else we didn't touch on today that you really wanted to bring exposure to, or give anybody some last advice on anything you all wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to plug, Abel, I want to plug your podcast. This is the first time anybody's really asked about our background. Like, I don't think people dive into that enough. All they want to know is about how many deals you did and, where you're going and, that kind of thing. I think that's a crucial piece because people need to know it's just normal people, they're same backgrounds as everybody else. Anybody can do it. So hats off to you, man, for stepping into that realm and making people open up about their, childhood and stuff.
Well, good, man. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Chris, you're the man. Thank you very much. Ashton, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to connecting and staying connected, and we'll have a lot of success. God bless you guys.
Hey, thanks Abel.
Man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Abel Pacheco. I'm your host for the 5 Talents podcast. If you've heard something you like today, please join, subscribe, like, rate, and review, all the things. All of that stuff really does help us on the internet to get other great guests like Chris and Ashton, and also it helps us with the algorithm. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you on the next show. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who followed their dreams and achieved massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents podcast.